Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the match reaction from Chelsea to Aston Villa 2 in a crazy game at Villa Park, plus all the latest Chelsea news, potential injury to Thiago Silva, Chelsea fans banging on about Roberto De Zerbi like he's Pep Guardiola with hair. I'm going to be addressing that as well. We used to have standards at this football club, and now we've got people pining over De Zerbi like he's the second coming of Pep when, you know, you look at the way that his team plays at Brighton, 6 points out of the last 29, conceding 60 plus goals per season, wherever he's been. And people think he's the perfect guy for Chelsea. I'm just not having it. So we're going to dive into all that as well. All the latest follow-up from the Villa game, Gallagher, Madueke, VAR in general, inconsistencies, loads and loads to get into in tonight's stream, people. I would have done it a bit earlier today, but got back late, been working. Obviously, there's been games on today as well. So, yeah, little Sunday evening. Where do we have to come to get any type of Europe? Top 7. We have to come top 7. So, I'll be honest, I think European hopes are hanging by a thread, if not gone. If I'm being honest, if I'm being brutally honest, for us to get into Europe next season, I feel that we're going to have to win 4 out of our last 5 games. But to guarantee it, I think we have to win all our remaining games. And even then, it might not be enough. Newcastle and Man United have still got to play each other. So that someone's dropping points there, which could be, which I say would be an advantage to us. But can we actually, you know, take advantage of a situation when it gets presented to us? No, probably not. But yeah, crazy game at Villa Park last night. Thought we were dead and buried when we were 2-0 down at half time. Thought, oh, this is just Arsenal Mark II. Here we go again. But actually, do you know what? We showed real fight in the second half, real character, real determination, real fighting for the badge. Players playing for the manager. It doesn't look like anyone's down tools. You know, these players want to be here. These players are playing for this manager, and we showed fight and desire. And we competed really well. And we played some of our best football we've played this season in that second half. But I don't know what the first half was. We were lazy, lethargic, slow on the ball. All the things that we've been, this season for in large parts of games. And the second half, I don't know what was said at half time. Madueke came out afterwards and said Thiago Silva and Poch had a few things to say at half time, which got the boys going a little bit more. I should bloody well think so. That first half was atrocious. Some of the worst stuff we've played. I mean, as I say, okay until we got to the final third, which is just generally terrible. But look, I think obviously going to dive into some of the talking points from the game. But I think overall, looking at it, you know, yes, a point at Villa Park is a good result, 100%. And particularly given the circumstances that we were 2-0 down, and we arguably should have won that game, I think we can be pleased with our evening's work and how we played. But I think in the grander scheme of things, what it does mean is that despite a point being good at Villa Park in general, for what we needed for our European hopes, because we've been so inconsistent this season, we needed to win this game. And we didn't. And it almost just feels like these performances are just sort of too little, too late. To be perfectly honest. But yeah, guys, big yourselves up, everyone that's locked in. Smash the likes, subscribe if you're new around here. Let's get these likes up. Let's get it to 50 as quickly as possible. Smash that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here. And yeah, let's get this show on the road. Let's say hello to a few people in the chat, and then we'll get going. Chelsea shocking in the first half yesterday. Next season, 1 game a week. We must get it right. Yeah, well, let's wait and see. It's going to be difficult for sure. Yes, big up, big up. No, I don't think anyone wants Arsenal to win the league. Yeah, no, I know we can still mathematically do it, but if we're being realistic with the evidence that we've seen from the team so far this season, I don't see it happening. No, I don't think he's in no more trouble than he has been for, you know, the majority of the season. So yeah, it doesn't really make any difference. Yeah. A lot of people saw. Yeah, I mean, yeah, wasn't looking best pleased. You know, but ultimately we managed to turn it around in the end. So I was feeling happier at full time than I was at half time. Yes, big up, big up. Hope it goes well, brother. Yeah, I can imagine. What else is going on here? I actually thought Jackson was all right yesterday. A disallowed goal for offside, which is frustrating. Worked hard. The header that hits the post should do better with that. Mudryk was for me. I believe in Mudryk, and I think you have to give these players time. But there's no denying that yesterday, whilst he did some good things, like his end product on the ball was really poor, some of the shooting and whatnot. But I can guarantee you that, like, if Chelsea were to give up on Mudryk, which I don't think they will at this stage, he'll go somewhere else. And I don't mean like Mo Salah or De Bruyne, but he'll go somewhere else and he'll show how good a player he is. Whether it's Chelsea or not remains to be seen. But I'm certain that if Chelsea give up on him, he'll go somewhere else and he'll be a very good player. Yes, all good, brother. All yeah, it was a good comeback yesterday. Honestly, mate, when we went 1 down in the first 4 minutes, I thought, yeah, we're going to get absolutely battered here. But yeah, it wasn't the case. Yep. Okay. Was this draw more of Villa switching off or players fighting back? I think it was absolutely players fighting back. Villa, Poch made a very good tactical switch at half time. Moves Cucurella into that. He basically inverted him, so he done the old inverted fullback thing with Cucurella, and it actually worked very well. It was the best part of the game yesterday, pretty much. We sustained our attacks a lot better with Cucurella in there. At times we sort of had a 3+2. We dominated possession with purpose in that second half, something that we kind of lacked all season. But Cucurella going into that inverted midfield role was brilliant. Really, really good. He played further up, and he was fantastic. I thought he was a real positive last night. He was a real positive. When we get into the Cucurella stuff, and that just goes to show, right? One thing that Poch has been accused of is not really making that many tactical switches in games or just in general. He makes one fairly simple one last night, and it makes a huge difference, which sort of makes you wonder, well, where's that been all season? Where has that been all season? It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because this is definitely something we 100% could have tried, and it worked really well. And Cucurella had one of his best games for Chelsea. And I don't know if that's just something as a one-off, but I think that's definitely something that we should look to see more of. I thought he was really, really good yesterday, and particularly when he inverted and that switch, he was very good tonight. One of his best games, and not tonight, sorry, last night. One of his best games of the season. He looked accomplished through the middle and the second half, and I'd definitely like to see him play in those spaces more often. Are we really going to see it? I think for me, I felt we saw the real Cucurella yesterday. One that wasn't prohibited. He was allowed to use his passing to change the game. I honestly think that we should be using him more as an inverted fullback. I think the role suits him very well, and I think if Chelsea can use him right, they can perhaps maybe win a lot more football matches. But yeah, the benefits of inverting Cucurella were huge. I think build up shape was changed to a more narrow 3-2. There's winning more aerial duels in the midfield. You've got more passing options in midfield. It's front foot defending, overloading the midfield, covers more of the pitch, and you've got a defensive-minded presence in there as well. It was really good. Cucurella out wide never works, and the tactical change was really good, but perhaps he should have maybe realised that before the game. But at least he addressed it at half-time, and it was very, very good. I thought it was brilliant in that second half. And fair play to him, fair play to Poch to making the change. And I really would like to see whether we're gonna see more of that in the remaining games of the season. Poch noticed that Chalobah was inverting to form a back three in the first half, but then the problem with that was, in the first half, that means the left back has to be high and wide, and Cucurella simply can't do that. So you get decent possession, but you end up just having shots from outside the box because you can't break them down. So Poch obviously noticed that, and then his solution was he told Mudryk to stay wide in that second half, hugging the touchline, and Cucurella to invert into midfield, and then Gallagher occupied the left-hand side, and it worked pretty well. It was pretty interesting to say the least, and I was very impressed with Cucurella last night. Really impressed. Really impressed with him. Chalobah was good yesterday. Gallagher also. Yeah, I mean, the inverted fullback thing's not a new thing at all. But it's certainly something that we've not seen tried at Chelsea. Yeah, I suspect a centre back or two will come in the summer. But yeah, next season when Nkunku comes back, do you drop Enzo and put Caicedo or Gallagher in the pivot? No, they didn't. No, Enzo and Caicedo will play. I think Gallagher will be a squad rotation player, providing he's still here next season. But yeah, we've got a lot of players. If the team can be fit, which is a big if, we've got a lot of players that can be very good for us next season. We've got a lot of players that can be very good for us next season. We're going to get into that. We should buy more forwards. I mean, a striker. I see Mudryk much better as a 10. Yeah, I think when he gets on the ball more, he certainly looks better. And when he's played more centrally in recent games, he's definitely looks better there. But yeah, Cucurella was good yesterday. That inverted fullbacks business, inverted left back. Yeah, I thought that worked well. I liked it. You know, his ball control and his and whatnot is very good. And you know, Cucurella next to Caicedo made a massive difference. And for me, yeah, let's see more of that for the remainder of the season, because I really liked it, and I just don't want it to be one of those things that was just done as a one-off and then we're not going to see it again, when it clearly worked and it was clearly decent. So yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing more of that 100%. But let's move away from that Cucurella stuff and let's again, I don't agree with that. Yes, you know, it happens that, you know, he's maybe had some of his better games when Enzo's not been there. But I think to suggest that the pair of them can't play together is just not the case for me. Absolutely not the case. I think, you know, that the pair of them will play very well together. It just needs the right tactical setup. That's the most important thing. But those players can absolutely play together. What else is going on? Yeah. No, I've said, you know, he done well yesterday with that change. Because another defeat could have been very, very damaging. But let's dive into the main topic of conversation then, people. Obviously, the VAR decision at the end, you know, robbed of some all-timer limbs in the away end. And yeah, for something that was a marginal foul at best. I mean, if you look at it, for me, I mean, obviously in real time, you know, it's impossible to see. Impossible to see. When you look at it there, like they're both looking at the ball. Carlos has got his arm across Badiashile. Yeah, the referee, as you can see, is staring right at that decision. He's looking right at it. He couldn't have a better or clearer view on the situation. He's decided it's not a foul, and yet he's arseholes fallen out when he's been told by the dodgy geezers down the road at Stockley Park that, oh, you need to go and look at that. And for me, it's not the question of whether it's a foul or not, because that's debatable whether it's a foul or not. My big thing is why? What's the threshold for being sent to the screen or not? Because he's looked at that. The referee should be allowed to, you know, what's happening here is that referees aren't refereeing the game. The game's being refereed from a room hundreds of miles down the road. Yeah, you know, but the problem is once you get sent to the screen, you know the referee is going to change his mind, because it's planting that seed of doubt in his mind that, oh, I've made a mistake here. As soon as you get sent to the screen, you're basically told you've made a mistake. And I don't understand what qualifies for being sent to the screen and what doesn't qualify for being sent to the screen. It's not about, for me, it's not about whether it's a foul or not. It's about the consistency. Why is what needs to be clarified is when a ref does and doesn't go to the monitor. You can see the ref had a great view of the Badiashile foul, and he was asked to look at it again. And then Michael Oliver didn't see, when we over the Grealish handball at Wembley, Oliver didn't see any contact from Grealish at Wembley, and yet he wasn't even sent to the screen to look at it. So I don't understand where the threshold is with this. What qualifies for going to the screen and what doesn't? Where's the levels of consistency? Because are you telling me, right, that's been given as a foul? If that happens the other way round, right? If that's in the Aston Villa box, right? Are you telling me they're giving that as a penalty? No way are they giving that as a penalty. Are you telling me that if that happens in the other box, the exact same situation, are they sending the referee to the screen to look for a penalty? We think you've made a mistake. No, they absolutely are not doing that. They absolutely aren't doing that. And so it's the levels of consistency which are not there. One week you know, FA Cup, you don't get a blatant handball for Grealish. The very next day, same competition, you get one for a handball on Wan-Bissaka that shouldn't really be given as a penalty. Two examples there. You got one earlier in the season when Raheem Sterling was barged over in the box against Brentford at Stamford Bridge. Far bigger push than that last night. Not given. For what that's worth, I didn't think that was a penalty, but wasn't given. Yet this one is given. Why is there such big discrepancies between decisions from game to game? It literally doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, the more I look at it, I just cannot believe that this goal wasn't given by VAR. You know, once he doesn't give it on the field, the VAR shouldn't be getting involved. Goals being disallowed for that are stupid. What I'm like, we're completely moving away from the point. We're completely moving away from what VAR was brought in for. Clear and obvious mistakes, like missing that handball from Grealish at Wembley. Are you telling me, when you look at that, you're telling me if that goal's given, we're talking about an all-time howler from a referee? Absolutely, we're not talking about any howler whatsoever. If that goal's given, no one's complaining about it if that's given. It's as simple as that. No one's complaining about that if it's given. Is that a clear and obvious error? No, it's not. Is that in the same category as missing a handball? Is that in the same category as missing a knee-high tackle? That's a blatant red card. Are we talking about this as a clear and obvious error? No, we're not. We're so concerned about getting every nuance of refereeing a game right that we're completely neglecting the whole reason that VAR was brought in for, which was to correct clear and obvious mistakes. That refereeing in real time, you can't always make the right decision. You won't always get the right decisions. They're brought in for those big ones. And yet the game's just being micromanaged now. Every single aspect of football is being micromanaged by a few clueless geezers in the VAR room, hundreds of miles away from a football ground. And you can't even celebrate goals anymore because you pretty much know that there's a high chance it's going to be chalked off. For what it's worth, the VAR technology is good. The way we implement it in this country is an absolute joke. Absolute joke. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand what's the threshold. What's the threshold for going to the screen and what's not? You also got a situation where the threshold for being given for getting a foul against you as a defender is so low. Defender, there's so much more leniency towards defenders than attackers with VAR. It really is as simple as that. Really is as simple as that. There is so much more leniency between defenders and for defenders than there is for attackers. But apparently, Michael Oliver is England's. Even this one today, even this one today, I don't understand it. How is that not given today? Right in the Arsenal game earlier on, Mickey van der Ven, Kai Havertz, two hands in the back, blatant push to jump, and he scores the header. He's telling me 2 hands in the back. He's pushing the geezer over. Nothing's given for that. Are you telling me that that's more or less of a push than Badia Shield? Of course it's less. Of course it's less. Yet that's not given. But that Badia Shield one is, when the referee's having a clear look at it. And Michael Oliver, who's reffing this game today, supposedly the best referee that England have got, doesn't see that in real time. That perhaps wasn't a foul, but there's a dangerous precedent set last night for the league now that if you have 2 hands in the back, then it's a foul. I just don't get it at all. The whole thing is just ruining. It's just ruining the game. Absolutely ruining the game. You see Noni Madueke and Badia Shield last night, berating the referee, saying to them, it's wrong. It's wrong. It. It's absolutely the case. The levels of consistency are staggering, absolutely staggering. There is zero consistency whatsoever. Absolutely zero consistency. If it's not met the threshold for a penalty, it shouldn't meet the threshold for a goal to be overturned. It's as simple as that. It really is as simple as that. Yeah, brother, I've seen it. You don't need to put this message in the chat so many times. I have seen it, bro. I'll get to stuff in the chat in a sec. Surely for something to be ruled out or for someone to be sent to the screen, realistically, for a foul in the box, it needs to be meeting the threshold for a penalty. If it doesn't meet the threshold for a goal to be overturned, then if it's not met the threshold for a penalty, then it shouldn't meet the threshold for a goal to be overturned. This is where VAR has been rushed through and the laws of the game haven't been altered. It's an IFAB issue just as much as it's an issue for the PGMOL. It really is. My biggest concern is, how has the ref not seen it when it was right in front of him? That's not overturning a massive error. That's re-refereeing a game. That is not overturning a clear and obvious error. The referee is looking right at it. We've seen how clear Craig Pawson's view was. Seen how clear Craig Pawson's view was. He deemed that not to be a foul. That's re-refereeing the game. Re-refereeing the game. It's not overturning a massive error. The Grealish handball you can easily miss in real time. Of course you can, and that's what the VAR there is for. Is for things like that. It's not for re-refereeing the game. When a referee has had as clear a view as Craig Pawson's had there, then you have to put your trust in the officials that he's seen it and that's the decision that he's given. Instead of that, that's re-refereeing a game in my book. It absolutely is, and that's not what VAR there is for. It's not to re-referees games. And ultimately, if that's the threshold for a foul in games, then every week you'd be having multiple people sent off for whatever, for bookings or whatever it might be. It's just an absolute shambles, and it's a problems. VAR has fucked us over in a week. Influenced our fate in the FA Cup. It fucked over the women's team in the Champions League semi-final yesterday, and it fucked us over yesterday at Villa Park as well. Apparently that push from Badia Shield was a clear and obvious error, but Grealish handballing the ball wasn't a clear and obvious error. This is my problem, not necessarily with whether it was a foul or not last night. It's the consistency of what's if that's what's being called as a foul. At the end of the day, as we've said, the ref had a clear and obvious view. He didn't give it, and that should be that at the end of the day. That should be that at the end of the day. You know, but what can we say that's not already been said about it? You know, it's an absolute mess. In principle, the VAR is the VAR technology is great. You know, that's what we that's what we need. That's what we need. You know, because we want the right decisions to be made. You know, that's what it's there for. It's not there for re-refereeing games and micromanaging games. You know, it's amazing what's going on here, and yet there's zero accountability for it whatsoever. Absolutely zero accountability. You know, why example for offsides is there no automated, semi-automated technology that everyone else is using it? You know, finally that's going to come in next year, I think. But VAR is just ruining football, absolutely ruining football. You know, at the end of the day, I say threshold, but ultimately, is there really a threshold? I don't know if there is. It always has been, I guess, and maybe it always will be. There's no actual guidelines. It's just how the official feels on the day. That seems to be the point. I mean, this Eli geezer, brother, if you keep spamming in the chat, then I'm just going to block you and time you out for a while because it's annoying other people. You know, it's clearly how the official just feels on the day. You know, and ultimately, whether it's a foul or no foul is almost irrelevant. The ref saw it on the pitch and deemed it all right. There is not enough evidence in that sequence of play to claim it's a clear and obvious mistake. The ref saw it. You can't then make him change his decision. That's not the point of VAR. That's not the point of VAR to re-referee games. You know, the point of VAR is to overturn, is to you know, get, if a referee's missed something, then you let them know. And this is the problem, people. This is the problem, that VAR is now just re-refereeing games. You know, the ref saw it. You can't make him make his decision. No, VAR is there for clear and obvious mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. That wasn't an opinion. Some refs give it, some refs don't. The whole point of the VAR is not to interfere with decisions unless it's an absolute horror show from someone. You know, tonight's foul, that could have been given by 10 refs and 10 refs could have said it was fine. It wasn't an error. It was a game. It was a challenge that happens in game all the time. That's my point. That's my point on it. You know, it's about the annoying thing is that, you know, it's about the fact that 1 week we're denied a penalty, as I said, because the referee chooses to judge the decision by the clear and obvious threshold. And the next week we're denied a winner because they chose to get the right decision. I just don't understand it. You know, if you're willing to overturn that decision on the VAR, you must also then suspend Craig Pawson for not calling it as a foul live through sheer incompetency, because he was staring right at it. There can be no other outcome when you see where he is on that thing. You know, at the end of the day, the PGMOL continues to ruin joy in football. You know, the Grealish one, not clear and obvious enough to send to the monitor, but an incident that wouldn't have gained the reaction from any official in play suddenly does. It's an absolute sham of an organisation who deserve to be questioned every single day until they start sorting their shit out, because it is ruining football. It's absolutely ruining football. Let me get to a few people in the chat. Apologies for all this. Yeah, I need to get some mods. I don't actually even know how to do the mods, so I better I'll look into that. It's not VAR itself that needs to be gone. It's the officials. It's A, the officials, and it's B, when it should and shouldn't step in, because it shouldn't be stepping in for every single thing. I want to get rid of VAR, but it'll never go away. No, it won't. It's never going to go away. But what needs to happen is it needs to be, it needs to be it needs to be completely rethought how it's used, because it's honestly shocking. I wouldn't say it's a Chelsea agenda, but it's a massive problem. Yeah, next season we're going to get automated offsides. So there'll be none of this bollocks drawing lines business. Agreed, it's the officials ruining it. VAR is always the issue. Yeah, they have been dreadful, absolutely dreadful. No, you can't, and it's even worse when you're in the ground. You like, obviously, of course, you're going to celebrate when there's a goal, but you can't really fully enjoy it, because you know that every single goal is checked by the VAR, and there's a chance that it's going to get chalked off, which is just not what you want. It just isn't what you want, and it is taking the joy out of the game. It's re-refereeing games. There's no other one. I mean, look, I don't follow other leagues as close as I do the Premier League, but they might get the odd decision here and there, but there is no way that they're talking about VAR on a week-to-week basis, game-to-game basis, as much as the Premier League is. It's a real problem, a real problem. But yeah, do you know what? It is what it is at the end of the day. This is where we are right now. And it's disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. I'm not saying that's cost us the game as such. Obviously we we didn't play well. Second half we played very well, but on the balance of things, a draw probably was a fair result, given they dominated the first half, we dominated the second half. It's more the principle that it sets. I mean, and Pochettino in his comments after the game was absolutely spot on that. VAR's damaged English football for me, damaged the image of football. It was a goal. It's unbelievable and ridiculous. 2 weeks ago against Man City, it was handball and it was not a penalty. He's absolutely spot on with what he says. Absolutely spot on with what he says there. And do you know what? This is just going to keep happening. This is just going to keep happening until somebody holds the PGMOL properly to account. And no one is at the moment. No one is at the moment. No one is holding these people properly to account. They're just allowed to do whatever they want, constantly get away with it week after week. It's honestly an absolute shambles and an absolute disgrace, and I'm sick of it, fuming about it. The first thing that needs to happen with VAR is it cannot be run by referees. It needs to be people that are specifically taught and they're specialist VARs, because ultimately when you're in the VAR as referees and your mates are reffing on the pitch, even Mike Dean said it himself. He didn't send Anthony Taylor to the screen because he's his mate, and he didn't want to bring any criticism on him for getting something wrong. I'm just like, what is going on here? It's just a jobs for the boys. Jobs for the boys. It's honestly, at the end of the day, Premier League always says it's the best in the world in terms of best in the world with managers, best in the world with players, best in the world products or whatever. Get best in the world. Get best in the world officials then, because you've got worse in the world officials. No, unfortunately, I can't make the Spurs game on Thursday, but I'll be at West Ham, I'll be at Forest, and I'll be at Bournemouth as well. And I might be at Brighton. We'll have to see. We might do well next season. I feel. Well, I mean, it's going to take a bit more than just that. How come I support Chelsea? Because my dad supported Chelsea, and I just, like anyone else, kind of a boring story. And just went from there. What else have we got? We have to finish 7th to get Conference League. 7th conference is a 5th and 6th Europa League, 7th Conference League. So yeah, you basically have to obviously you buy a membership, and then you obviously buy tickets if you can, and you get points for the tickets, and then the more points you have, the earlier access you get to tickets, basically. That's going to be fun. Yeah, look, I think we should beat Spurs, but we'll get into that later in the week. But yeah, the VAR I think is absolutely is ruining the game, and it needs massively. That I don't know the answer to. That I'm not sure about. Yeah. I'll sort mods out next week. I don't know how to do it at this point in time, but I will. I will absolutely get mods sorted. But let's move into some. Let's move into some positives from yesterday. Obviously, the fight, the passion, the desire was great. Conor Gallagher, I thought, was brilliant again. Fantastic strike for his goal, and the fact that we still haven't offered this guy a new contract, and he looks like he's going to depart this summer, goes to show that we haven't learned from our mistakes as a club previously. Conor Gallagher should be at Chelsea next season. Simple as that. He should be at Chelsea next season, but he clearly won't be. And the facts that talks over a new deal haven't occurred is exactly what I've said here. It shows that Chelsea as a club aren't learning from our mistakes. We think we can sell Conor Gallagher for 50 odd million pounds. We'll then go and sign someone like 1920, probably not half as good as Conor at this stage, and we'll spend 50, 60 million quid to do it. It really doesn't make any sort of sense whatsoever. I just don't get. I just don't get what we're trying to do here. I really don't. It's confusing to say the least. Absolutely confusing to say the least. Yeah, Correa was at class second half. Yeah, Caicedo was superb yesterday. I haven't even got onto him yet, but Caicedo was brilliant yesterday. All over the pitch. Maybe he needs to start every game on a yellow card, because he seems to play a lot better when he's booked. Gallagher should be. I just can't get my head around it. He's not being. They're not thinking about selling him for footballing reasons. It's purely financial. And I've said many times, this club right now isn't bothered about how profitable players can be on the pitch. They're more concerned about how profitable players are away from the pitch, off the pitch. Sorry, that is it. If Gallagher wasn't homegrown, then they wouldn't be entertaining selling him. If he was Brazilian and he was called Galladinho or something, the geezer's getting a new contract faster than you can ever imagined. So yeah, it's honestly staggering, and it just goes to show that we don't treat players well at Chelsea, unfortunately. And also, we just don't seem to learn from our mistakes. We do not seem to be learning from our mistakes. Everyone's saying we need Tuchel and Mourinho, but we don't have a win now squad. No, we absolutely don't. Agreed. Yeah, Gallagher's. I'm not saying that Gallagher should be starting every single week for Chelsea. Obviously, he's proving that he should be right now. But generally speaking, going forwards, there's a place in the squad for Conor Gallagher. Simple as that. Yes, big up, brother. Hope you're good. Yeah, not bad. Thanks, mate. Not bad. I hope you did as well. As a rival fan, you'll need to sell players. Well, we're good at selling players. Caicedo was brilliant. Gallagher's goal, yeah, it was mad. We should be keeping Conor Gallagher. It's a no-brainer in my view. But at the end of the day, what the club want to do. Caicedo was class yesterday, and that slide tackle. Yeah, that slide tackle and then pass to Madueke was great. Yes, Matty, pick yourself up. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate it. Next season, do you think we'll see the best of Enzo? Hopefully. Let's see. You'll get money. Gallagher's goal was like, yeah, Hutchinson scored 2 bangers for Ipswich yesterday. I mean, it's a shame they couldn't really hold on for the win, but yeah, Hutchinson scored 2 bangers. And look, there's definitely conversations to be had about him potentially at Chelsea next season as well. Looks a real good player. He's had a superb loan in the Championship, very difficult league. Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to seeing that. And hopefully next season we can start to see, what people describe, as the real Enzo. Maybe we should buy experience or bring back Santos. I mean, I don't think we need to buy any midfield players, to be perfectly honest. But ultimately, if Gallagher goes, then someone will need to come in. I mean, look, you'd like to think if Gallagher goes, maybe you give Andre Santos a chance. But we know what Chelsea are like. We're just going to keep throwing money at it, and we're going to keep buying players. For me personally, I think Santos could do with another full season on loan somewhere, because obviously he was on loan at Forest for the first half of the season, and it was a disaster. And then obviously in terms of the second half of the season, things have gone well at Strasbourg for him, but I think he needs more experience. Well, yeah, if they can come up, yeah. No, but Madueke was told to stay wide in the second half, and I just don't think we particularly used him that much. But that's the big question. I think so. I'd like to believe so, but it's difficult. I think he will, but yeah, it's something that he absolutely needs to get on top of. 100% needs to get the best out of Enzo. You just play him deep. It's not that difficult. Yet we seem to be finding it quite difficult. Quite difficult to do. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It really is. But I mean, yeah, it's a strange one. It really is a strange one. Yeah, look, I think, to be fair, has it done enough to warrant a chance at Chelsea? I think so. I think for me, in an ideal situation, would be if Ipswich can get promoted, sign a new contract at Chelsea, and then do a season on loan in the Premier League with Ipswich, and then go from there. Fair. We're stacked for right wingers. We need to do something about left wingers. Agreed. I think we'll also finish 8th to 10th. I think probably I would agree on that front as well. I think that's probably fair. But yeah, the Gallagher situation is what it is. Great strike yesterday. He's leading the team by example. He's exactly the sort of player you want to have in the group, in the squad. And yet we just seem, set on never learning from our mistakes. But yeah, that is Chelsea Football Club. Again, but is Petrovic good enough? I think he's done well this season. Is he good enough to be a Premier League winning goalkeeper? I don't know the answer to that, but yeah, I certainly think he's good enough, to play for us, and he's good enough to play for a team aiming to qualify for the Champions League. I certainly think that's the case. Of all our problems, like signing another goalkeeper is nowhere near. Is nowhere near the top of the priorities. Absolutely nowhere near. What is near the top of the priorities, though, guys, is making sure you lot keep smashing that thumbs up button. 59 likes, 65 in the building. Let's keep it moving, guys. Keep smashing that like button. Let's get this up towards 70, 80 likes if we can. And please subscribe to the channel if you are new around here as well. That would be greatly appreciated. On 8,608 subscribers now. Let's try and get to 8,610. Little mini milestone. Guys, if there's 2 of you in it that haven't smashed the subscribe button, make sure you do that. It would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, back to it, people. Back to it. Yeah, Badia Shield was brilliant yesterday as well. And again, always judge a player on quality. Yes, he struggled this season. He's not been at his best, but he is a very good player. He is a good player. He has absolutely struggled this season, and it's been difficult. But do you know what? He was very good last night. Very good last night. You know, if you turned your back on Badiashile, don't come back. Don't come back when he succeeds, is all I'm saying. You know, don't come back when he succeeds, because there's a good player there. Absolutely a good player there. He was excellent yesterday. And you always back ability. You know, yes, he's been very poor this season, but the ability's always been there. And it's just a lack of form and a lack of confidence. It is that's simply what I put it down to. You know, he was fantastic yesterday, absolutely fantastic, and that's the sort of defender that he is. You know, I thought he was very, very good yesterday. You know, very good yesterday. Conor Gallagher needs to look at what I don't know what would be good left back. Again, left back situation is quite difficult. Do I think Poch is safe? Look, he's not. I wouldn't say he was safe, no, but I do expect him. I do expect that he'll be at Chelsea next season. Loaning Madrid next season is the best decision this club can make. Again, no chance we're going to get Jared Bowen. I know Chelsea are have interest in Bowen, but you know, a move is unrealistic, to be honest, because Bowen's under contract until 2030. It cost a phenomenal amount of money to get him out of West Ham. And, you know, we've got bigger priorities in other areas. That's the reality of the situation, people. It really is as simple as that. Palmer's not going anywhere. Yes, guys. If you're proper Chelsea, smash that like button. That should be every single person in here smashing the like button, guys. That's what we're talking about. Badiashile played better alongside. I think there's a common theme occurring here that anyone that plays alongside Thiago Silva seems to play pretty well. I mean, Colwell's looked good alongside Silva, as has Badiashile. You know, it's that calming presence next to you, that experience, that know-how. Guys, loads of things coming in. I'll try and read as much as I can. Learning Mudryk sounds realistic, but the board would never do that. Look, I've not heard anything or read anything, you know, in regards to what Chelsea's plans for Mudryk might be. What I do know is that the club fully believe in Mudryk. You know, they spent a lot of money on him, and I don't think they're going to give up after 18 months. But on the flip side of things, having said that, you know, there does need to be an improvement. And I think, look, there has been an improvement from Mudryk this season compared to his first 6 months. And, you know, he's had moments this season. He's scored a few goals. He's looked good in certain games. But there's a lack of consistency for sure. And, you know, at times games just drift him by. He doesn't get involved. End product is not the best, but do you know what? I'm not going to give up on a player. But there's absolutely no denying that he has struggled this season. Even though it's been an improvement from his first 6 months at the club, you know, people still want to see a lot more because there is so much ability there, and you just know that if Chelsea were to move Mudryk on at any point, you know, within the next year or two, that he would absolutely go and be a massive success somewhere else, because I think that ability that he's got is I don't say unmatched, but you know, he's got so much potential and so much ability. You know, he really does. So yeah, but again, I don't know what the plans are. Is the honest answer. I don't know what the plans are for him, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yes, Stu, big up, my guy, you're doing well. Yeah, it's always a strange one, but you know, it is what it is. People have got their weird and wonderful ways. You know, they'll get involved in the chat, type stuff out that probably takes a little bit of time to do, but can't be asked to hit the like button. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is, people. But I appreciate each and every single one of you that is locked in. It's always a pleasure to have the support. Yeah, look, I'd like to see Amari Hutchinson given a chance. As I said, though, I think ultimately the best for him is to go and have a loan in the Premier League somewhere. I think someone would definitely take him in the Premier League. Either be draw or lost. I don't know if they'll beat Tottenham. If Reece and Gusto are fit, where do you see them playing in the same team? I don't know. You could see Reece playing as a right centre back in a 3 with Gusto at right wing back. But in terms of in a back 4, they don't play in the same team. I think for me that's a sweeping statement, and I don't think you can judge that after not even 18 months at the club. That's just my opinion, but no, I think that's harsh, and ultimately, it might not work out for Madrid, but I don't think, I'd say he's never going to make it. I think is unfair. That's just my thoughts. But look, only time will tell on these things. Only time will tell, guys. On that front. But yeah, look, I haven't heard anything in regards to what Chelsea's plans for Mudryk might be. But talking of wingers, I thought yesterday Noni Madueke was very good. And you know what? He's quietly impressing in recent weeks. He's not had the most opportunities this season, but I thought again when he's played in recent games, he has made an impact. Yes, if he can sort his attitude out, a few attitude issues, and if he can work on the defensive side of his game, work on tracking back more, etc., and helping the team out more defensively, then I think there's a good player there. There's absolutely a good player there. He played 90 minutes for the first time. Last night was the first time that he played 90 minutes this season for Chelsea. He's now started 5 games in a row as well for the first time this season. It's amazing with younger players, when you get consistency, a little bit of trust, and a run of games, your form suddenly improves. There's no coincidence there. Absolutely no coincidence for me on that front. I thought he was good yesterday. He's direct. He runs at people. He takes players on. He tries to make things happen. He's forward thinking. He's popping up with a few goals. He's got a good finish on him. I thought that he's got fire in him. He's got some sort of fire in him, and I honestly think he's done well, and I do like what I see from him. And he was one of our standout performers yesterday with Gallagher, Caicedo, Chalobah, and Badiashile. Yes, if you can sort a few attitude things out, but absolutely, I think there's a player there. There's absolutely a player there for me. Look, am I saying he's going to go on and be a world beater? No, I'm not. But can he be a good player for Chelsea? He absolutely can be. He's shown that he has got the attributes. And like with any of these young players, build their confidence up, give them a run of games, and you will get the rewards for that. It really is that simple. You will get the rewards for that, and that is exactly what we're seeing with Madueke now. Started the last 5 games, and he's contributing. He is contributing. Comes on and wins the winning penalty against Man United. Scores against. Yeah, sorry, people. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, are we all good? I'm back in the game now. I'm back in the game. Let me just bring that back on the screen. But yeah, Madueke is slowly impressed. Can people just let me know if we're all good on the old stream front? At a minor technical issue there, but I'll be good, guys. We're all good. Fantastic. Yeah, but look, Madueke, played his first 90 first 90 minutes of the season last night for Chelsea. He started the last 5 games in a row. And as I've been saying, confidence is a massive thing in football, huge thing for young players. Give these young kids a run of games, build their confidence up, and they will show you what they can do. And do you know what? I think, as I said here in this tweet, I think he's quietly impressed in recent weeks. He's got fight, he's got desire, he's direct, takes players on, and he always tries to make something happen. Yes, of course, there's lots to work on, obviously footballing-wise, defensively, technically, and of course to do with attitude as well in certain instances. But I really like him. I really like him. I think there's a lot in there. And look, I'm a big fan of Madueke as well. But I think right now, if you were basing it right now, then I think if you could only pick one, or you could only keep one out of the two, and this is just a hypothetical situation, but as much as I believe in and much as I love Madueke, like if you could only pick one to stay in the summer, then I think you would pick Madueke based on things currently. I really do think that would be the case. That's my thoughts on it right now. I want both of them to be a huge success for Chelsea. I hope they both can be. They've both got the ability to do it, but it's now down to them to deliver. And it's down to Chelsea to provide an environment for these guys to flourish in, because too often we've seen a lot of talented players at Chelsea not be able to produce, not make it at the club, go elsewhere and prove to be very, very good players. And that part of that reason for me is that Chelsea does not provide a good environment for players to flourish in. That's the reality. We need to work on creating a better environment. We need to work on creating a better environment for players to succeed in, because right now it's not great for us. It's not great in terms of environment wise at the club. But look, I thought, for what it's worth, I thought Madueke was good yesterday. I like what I'm seeing from him. He deserves to keep starting. He's direct, and he looks to make things happen. I think he's a good player, and I think that there's absolutely there's absolutely a player in there. Absolutely. So yeah, long may it continue, and let's see how he pushes on for the remainder of the season. Because right now, in terms of wingers, I mean, I'm not counting Cole Palmer as a winger, but as in terms of actual wingers at the club, he's our best performing one. He's playing better than Madueke right now, and he's playing a lot better than Raheem Sterling. He is our most in form, out and out winger at this point in time. So yeah, really pleased with him. But I think ultimately, to round out on the Villa game before we move on to managers, Sesko, etc., I think, look, first half shocking. Defensively, we are awful. We were better defensively in the second half for sure, but defensively in general, we're dreadful. But second half, we showed what we can do: fight, desire, character. A tactical switch from the gaffer, and we looked a lot better, and we played some of our best football, which goes to show, like, we have got it in us. We just don't. We just kind of almost pick and choose when to decide what we fancy. We sort of pick and choose. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, but I think let's move away from that Villa game. I mean, ultimately, to round it out, it does leave us in a tricky position for Europe. But I think we've said it many times before, and I know it feels like it's too little too late. Can we use this as a moment to push on and do something decent in the last 5 games and give us the best possible opportunity to qualify for Europe? I mean, Pochettino has said today that, I mean, we'll get on to Sesko in a sec. Poch has said that, it's reported by the Telegraph. Mauricio Pochettino is ready to open talks over which players Chelsea should retain next season, with players and staff fighting for their futures in the final part of the Premier League campaign. Look, is that an indication that he's staying? Not necessarily. But I think it's the manager's obviously going to have his thoughts. But then I sort of find it like, well, if he's not staying, why would you have a situation where he's going to open talks with the owners over which players should stay next season anyway? Because surely if a different manager was coming in, you wouldn't bother having those conversations. I don't know, but I think ultimately this is a good thing in my view. He's worked with these players for a year now, and I think ultimately he's going to know which ones are kind of good enough to stay at the club and worth keeping, and which ones ultimately aren't. And I'm almost certain that he's absolutely going to want to he's going to be making a case for Gallagher to stay, and I think he's going to be making a case for Trevor Chalobah to stay as well. In terms of anyone else, like who do I think that he thinks should go? I don't really know who would be in that bracket. I don't think there's an awful lot of players to sell this summer outside of the obvious. Martin's going to go, Broja's going. I know they want to get rid of Chalobah and Gallagher. Then you've got Lukaku, Malang Sarr will go, Hakim Ziyech, Kepa. In terms of actual players that are in and around the first team squad now, I don't think there's going to be that many that are going to be sold. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think these discussions are important, and it's absolutely going to be interesting to see what happens and what Poch's recommendations are. Yeah, look, for sure. Madueke has scored more goals. Look, I don't think there's an awful lot between the pair, but right now Madueke is for sure playing better. There's no denying that. Absolutely no denying that, people. He is 100% playing better. But yeah, look, in terms of the summer, again, interesting indeed. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming up at the moment. But I think it's right that if Poch is staying, then of course it's normal to have these conversations about what players should and shouldn't. Simple as that. We've got to assess the players and the project. He said on the summer transfer window plans. Let me just bring that up now. Silva's unfortunately not going to stay. The club have taken that decision. Pochettino on the summer window plans. We need to assess the players and to project for the future. But that is a thing the owners, sporting directors, and us. We will need to talk. We are open to talk and see when we talk. So yeah, look, I think he's obviously got his ideas. The ownership will probably have their ideas. I do wonder whether Poch is if there's any signings from last summer that Poch is thinking, do you know what? I'm not rating these guys at all. I don't know. But yeah, look, I think we all know the obvious ones that are going to go. Chelsea are open to selling Raheem Sterling. I'm pretty sure about that. Get the wages of the books, move him on. He's not been good enough. He's taking up a lot of money. I also, like, outside of the obvious, I also don't know what players that maybe we do want to keep, but what offers would come in for players that you're perhaps not thinking about, that could be sold. It'd be interesting to see what sort of offers will come in for Kukurea. What sort of offers will any offers come in potentially for Noni Madueke? I'm not saying we're going to sell him, but would offers come in for Madueke? There's a possibility on that front for sure. Could offers come in for, I don't know, could offers come in for a Mudryk? Could offers come in for, these sorts of players? You just don't know. That's the thing. Even some of the players that are out on loan now, will permanent offers come in? You just never know right now. But yeah, it's important that they always bang on about it being a collaborative process. If Pochettino's staying, then you need to listen to him, what he's saying about what players should be staying and what players should be going. Because ultimately, this is the guy working with the players day in, day out on the training pitch. If he's going to be the manager next season, then you need to listen to him about what players he wants and what players he doesn't want, and own it and back the decisions. Simple as that. I'm at the point now where actually, for me, in current form and current situations, I'd rather keep Cucurella over Chilwell at this point. If we're talking overall, then of course not. But I mean, at this point in time, I mean, Chilwell is struggled with injuries a lot. So yeah, for me, I'm thinking about. Do you know what? I'm keen to. I would rather keep Cucurella if right now at this point in time. If it's obviously full fitness, Chilwell and top form Chilwell, then obviously it's a no-brainer. But it's not. You know, it's not. You know. Brother, I think I mean I can't make any promises. I think there probably will be. I think there probably will be. Get Pochettino players he wants in the summer. If only it was as simple as that. Sterling Madueke needs to be sold. Move Jackson to left wing. Look, I think Jackson will be versatile across the front line. No, absolutely not. I mean that isn't happening. I'm not sure why you think that, but yeah, that for sure, 100%. Enzo is not being moved on in the summer. Yes, big up. Hope you're doing well, bro. Next season, I want to see Nkunku as a number 10 behind the striker. I just want to see Nkunku fit and in a Chelsea shirt, you know, and then we can obviously then we can worry about positions and shit at a later stage. Enzo is class, which is take in mind. He said, yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. Like, people are so quick to judge Enzo, and then they find out he's been playing with a hernia issue for 6 months. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, they're sort of changing their tune a little bit. You know, you've got to, for me, 100% Nkunku needs to be playing off the striker for sure. That is an absolute no-brainer, and there's no denying that at all. Absolutely no denying that. But yeah, obviously big plans ahead in the summer. Again, yeah, Jackson could be a Solomon Kalou type player. I think he's got a lot more. He offers a lot more in his all-round play. But yeah, you know, he absolutely could be a Solomon Kalou type player. That much is abundantly clear. You know, he's got that sort of a feel to him. Guys, 73 in the building, 77 likes. Let's get this to 80 likes. Keep pushing, people. Keep pushing. Smash that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button as well. It's free and it really, really helps me out. So if you could do that, I would be forever grateful. But let's get this to 80 likes. Come on, people. We're on 77. Should be light work to get these to get 3 more. So let's get it done, guys. Let's get it done. No excuses not to, people. There's also no excuses not to hit the subscribe button as well, because we need to be moving to 8,610, and we're on 8,609. So one more of you lovely people needs to hit the subscribe button. So make sure you do that. Let's move away from this. Let's quickly talk about Benjamin Sesko before I round this out by talking about managers as well. Let me just find this Sesko thing. Benjamin Sesko. Let's bring it up now. So Fabrizio, this must be from a YouTube video. Yes, big up, big up, big up, big up. I always mention one club especially, Chelsea. Chelsea are keen and have Sesko's name on their list, and they have been tracking him for 2 years. They are deciding how much they want to spend on a striker. Again, it depends what striker we're going for. You know, if you're wanting an Osimhen or you're wanting, well, I don't know, whatever, you know, you're going to have to spend north of 100 million quid. If you want an Ivan Toney, it'll probably cost you. I reckon Ivan Toney would be around 60 to 70 million pounds would be my guess. And then if you're not prepared to pay that much, or you think that someone's really good, Benjamin Sesko is got a 42 million pound release clause in his contract, or it might be 43. Anyway, one of the two. It's mid, like he costs around 40 million pounds, which is cheap for a striker. So it depends what we're looking to do money wise, but I absolutely agree, and I've said this many times. Another striker with potential, another young striker, is not the right way for us to go. It isn't the right way for us to go. I mean, I'm not sure what the parameters are for how much we're going to spend. What are we basing that on? How are we deciding? But he has scored a goal in each of his last 4 games. You know, he's 15 goals in 20 starts this season for RB Leipzig in all comps. You know, he is doing well. But what I'm saying is, like, this is not about whether he's a good player or not. This is about, is it right for Chelsea now to bring in another inexperienced 20-year-old striker? Yes, he's got Champions League experience with Leipzig and with obviously RB Salzburg. So he's more experienced in terms of top-level football than Nicholas Jackson was, obviously, when he come in. But this, for me, is not really the answer. What do we need at Chelsea right now? A ruthless kind of penalty box striker, someone that's been there, done that, got the T-shirt, knows how to score goals in the Premier League. And obviously, Sesko could be that guy, potentially, but there's no guarantees that he is. Like, someone like an Ivan Toney, for example, is a much bigger guarantee. Experience would bring leadership qualities as well. This for me is not the right move at the end of the day. Are we going to end up doing it? Potentially, we might, yes. But for me, if it's going to be a Sesko, I mean, I'd rather sign Victor Gyökeres than Sesko, if I'm being perfectly honest. But the fact that, you know, we're getting a lot of things now linking us with Sesko and slightly more strongly now, it makes me think that, yeah, maybe that's what we're looking to do. And I just don't think that would be the right thing. But you know what? Let's wait and see how it transpires. But I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure, really, if it's going to be the right thing or not. But let's move on to the managerial situation, and it's something that I wanted to talk about because obviously we know that Pochettino's under pressure. A lot of people want him replaced. So many Chelsea fans are talking about Roberto De Zerbi like he's Pep Guardiola with hair. It's honestly staggering. I mean, you got reporters like one of Ed Aarons, who's a Guardian reporter. Embarrassing performance from Brighton. They've been totally outplayed by Bournemouth as Kluivert slams home the 3rd goal. De Zerbi standing motionless on the touchline. And it's safe to say, it's sad that, we had the standards of the club now where we've got a section of the fan base pleading for De Zerbi to be in charge in charge next season. And even if you think, he's the one, he needs another season to prove that last season with Brighton wasn't a fluke, or to prove that this season wasn't a blip. Chelsea aren't in a position to be taking risks right now because of a comp 8 months ago. That's the reality of the situation. You know, the Zerbi teams concede so many goals. You know, averages 60 goals conceded per season. You know, you've got Brighton fans that are not happy with De Zerbi. You know, the Brighton got battered again today. Absolutely battered. You know, there's no obvious choice. You know, look, I'm not saying he's a bad manager. I'm absolutely not saying De Zerbi's a bad manager, but he very much at this point in time looks like a one-trick pony. He looks like a one-trick pony. You know, he's had 6 points out of the last 29 points. Or was it 6 wins from the last 29 games? Maybe it's 6 wins from the last 29. Like De Zerbi's Brighton are not playing good stuff at all. They're not. You know, he's doing nothing to convince me that he's worth having. Nothing whatsoever. You know, it's the guy gets battered every week, and yet he's constantly linked with top jobs. I don't get it. You know, this month they've had 5 games, they haven't won a single one. They've conceded 11 goals, and the only goal they scored was ridiculous own goal at Burnley, where the keeper just let it go under his foot from a back pass. You know, that's the reality. You know, since January, Brighton have won 6 games since January. You know, and yet you've got De Zerbi fans doing how have they got away with doing all this prop for him? All this prop for him is mad, absolutely mad. You know, I hate it that in this era of football, there's not enough certified managers that are winners. You know, too many super coaches we have to gamble on and put faith in. You know, but no doubt he's a top coach. But come on, a top manager for an elite level club. Let's be real, seriously. Let's be real. Come on, guys. The De Zerbi, Pep Guardiola with hair people are talking about is more like Chris Wilder with a goatee right now. Is what I'm thinking. He's more like Chris Wilder with a fucking goatee. But people seem to think he's Pep Guardiola with hair, this fan base. And they're convinced that, you know, he give him the keys. It's pathetic. Honestly, it is pathetic. And if it was a choice of De Zerbi or keep Pochettino, I'd rather keep Pochettino, to be perfectly honest. That's how unsure and unconvinced I am by De Zerbi. You know, it's crazy. It really is, really is. But apparently we need to bring him to the bridge. You know, the only just look at this. The only Premier League teams Brighton have beaten since September: Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Sheffield United, Palace, and Spurs. Since September, Brighton have only beaten 5 Premier League sides. It's mad. And this is not me shitting on De Zerbi, because I like De Zerbi. I think he's a very good coach. But the way that some of our fan base are pining over him, talking like he's the second coming of Pep and he's going to fix everything, it's embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. It really is. It really is. I mean, I think what De Zerbi's career so far has proven is he cannot coach the defense. He simply cannot coach defense. You know, that's the reality. I think whether people like it or not, you know, and we can reassess the situation in 2025 at the end of next season. But I think realistically, for Chelsea now, it probably isn't. I know a lot of people would disagree with this. I think for the best interest of the club, it probably is worth sticking with Pochettino for another season, steady the ship, give these players another season under this manager, and then look at maybe making a change in 2025 when the managerial market, there might be better options available. Because right now, you know, unless you're going to bring in Ruben Amorim potentially, which again is attached with risks, then that's it. People talk about bringing Thomas Tuchel back. It's never happening. It's never happening. But at the same time, you know, unless it's going to be Ruben Amorim and you think you can get him, then there's no point making a change, in my opinion. No point making a change. De Zerbi is, I don't know what De Zerbi's done to make people think that he's suddenly the guy for the job. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it whatsoever. I really don't. I really don't. Yeah, no, I honestly don't understand it. I just don't understand. Like De Zerbi's PR is insane. It really is. I mean, look, if it ended up, yeah, maybe De Zerbi's assistant manager. That might be what we're looking at. Look, look, I'm not saying that De Zerbi's dog shit or anything, but the way that people talk about him, Chelsea fans are talking about him, it's embarrassing, really, as far as I'm concerned. It really is. I just don't know where it comes from. I really don't know where it comes from. I just don't understand how people can look at Brighton play and think De Zerbi is the answer. Is the answer to our problems. You know, it's beyond me. And also, do you know what? If Everton hadn't had their points deduction, they'd be on the same points as Roberto De Zerbi's Brighton. You know, that might work all right. To be honest, that might work all right. So what I'm saying is, like, this idea that, you know, that De Zerbi is some sort of savior is just ridiculous. You know, you've got Brighton fans that aren't happy with him. You know, Brighton fans saying they're dreadful. You know, saying he's been sussed out tactically, and it shows that they can't beat anyone. This is the discourse around De Zerbi from Brighton fans, and yet you've got Chelsea fans lapping him up. You know, it really is so cringeworthy and embarrassing, in my opinion. Of course, if he ended up coming to Chelsea, I would support him and I would back him like I do with every single manager. And I'd be happy to admit I'm wrong if the chance ever presented itself. But yeah, I just think De Zerbi right now is massively overrated, and he's very much style over substance, and people are seemingly, you know, being hooked in by that. That's where I'm at with it. That is where I'm at with it. But yeah, people, probably going to round this one out here. Big yourselves up. Love for all the support on a Sunday night. It's greatly appreciated. Guys, we're on 84 likes. Make sure on the way out you are smashing that thumbs up button. Let's get this to 90 likes. Hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. Guys, big week coming up. We've got Spurs and West Ham. 2 London derbies next week. Spurs on Thursday, West Ham on Sunday. 2 massive games. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel for all the content in the build-up to those games. Chelsea news in general. I'll be back tomorrow live if there's enough news to go for, etc., etc. There'll be something on the channel anyway, maybe possibly an upload instead. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed your weekend. Big yourselves up. The request for European football continues next week. We face an uphill battle, but never say never in football. It's going to be difficult, but you just never know. Anyway, enjoy your week, the rest of your weekend, guys. Have a good start to the week. I'll catch up with you soon. Up the Chelsea, and peace out, people.